Hey everybody, it's VP from Metaverse News, and I have decided to go deep into a game called Illuvium. I don't play a ton of games, but this one I think has great potential, not only to be a really fun game and to actually make it, but a place to where if you can get in early, you can make a lot of money, and I like that too. So I'm going to share my strategy with you. We just had the big land sale finish, and I bought land for a particular reason. And so check out my strategy, and if you like it even a little bit, or if you're just simply interested in it, like and subscribe and follow this channel. I will be doing a lot more videos on this, and as the Illuvium Zero game comes out, you will get to see pretty much every move I make and watch me bumble and stumble through things and make all the mistakes so you don't have to. My loss is your gain. But let me give you some background so everything makes sense, and then you can decide if you like this strategy or not. All right, so who am I and why should you care? Well, for starters, I am a little bit older than most of the Illuvium YouTubers I've seen so far. So do factor that in. I am only a casual gamer. Like, if I really like a game, I really latch onto it. Like I was really big into Skyrim and Witcher, games like that. But I'm definitely not what you would consider a hardcore gamer. I am in this for different reasons. I'm also very busy, so I don't have a whole lot of time to play this a lot, which is something that I really had to consider when I was buying this land. I own two businesses. I'm a trader. I'm an investor. I have another YouTube channel that is very large. So those things take up a lot of my time every day. And this game is going to take up some of your time every day, so I had to factor that in too. And if I'm being completely honest, my number one priority is to make money. I see this as a really good money-making opportunity, but to also have fun while doing it, which is really rare. And so I'm interested, I invested in it, and I really want to make it work. But at the end of the day, if I'm not making money, then it just isn't as fun. But just so you guys know, this is priority number one for me right here. It's not about the art, it's not about the gameplay, those things are really nice, but objective number one is to make money. And how am I going to do that? I really, more than anything, want as many blueprints as possible from this game. Now, what am I talking about? So what happens is for every land you buy, regardless of what tier it is, once you build it up, you can build a scanner on your land, and you can scan once every 24 hours for an alluvial blueprint. Now, these blueprints are not for creating alluvials themselves. They are for creating skins for what I think is going to be your armor, your character's armor. There's been a lot of back and forth on this, but they are definitely for skins. And there are 10,000 unique skins in the game. People are calling them rare. I don't know if I would call 10,000 rare. But once you have them, you are the only one who owns that unique blueprint and that unique skin, and you can start making skins as little or as often as you want and start generating money from them. Now, skins, I think, are a huge deal because everybody who plays games like this is madly into skins. Maybe not everybody, but enough people. I think for the last 4 years, the number one most requested Christmas gift was Fortnite skins out of anything. That's crazy. They're hugely in demand, and if this game takes off even a little bit, depending on which skins you have, they're not all going to be great, but there are some really awesome opportunities for money generation here, and this is something that I'm really excited that people at Illuvium put into the game. Now, if you're familiar with Illuvium, you need fuel to do pretty much everything, and that's going to be important too. You're going to need fuel to create buildings and make these scans and actually concoct the blueprints themselves. So you can't just go full on, let me just get as many land plots as I want, therefore giving me the most chances, which is true. The more land you get, the more chances you have. But there is time involved. Every time I bought another piece of land, in the back of my head, I was like, oh, there goes another half hour out of my day. But simply buying 11 Tier 1 lands may not be the best strategy because you are probably going to be lacking on fuel, which means you are going to go have to buy some, which I personally want to really avoid doing. So if your main objective is to get blueprints, which mine is, you can't just go and buy as many Tier 1 lands as you possibly can. I don't think that's the best approach. So let me tell you what I did do. So I started out with 5 ETH to spend. I have more ETH, but I bullish on Ethereum. I want to keep most of it, so I did allot 5 ETH for this particular land sale. And the way I did it is I bought 3 Tier 1 lands and 2 Tier 2 lands. As much as I wanted to get as many lands as possible, you need fuel. So I'm hoping those 2 Tier 2 lands that give me a 33% bonus on my fuel, along with the fuel I'm already generating on the Tier 1 lands, will be enough for me to do all of the things I want to do. Now, there's no real way to know this yet. It's a little bit frustrating. With all of these metaverse land sales, you never have all of the information you want. You just have to work with what you have. So I'm hoping I found the right combination. I even had some ETH left over, which is good because I may want to buy more later. So that's important. And for what it's worth, I also paid close attention to where I bought land. There are 7 regions in the game. I couldn't buy land in all 7. I had to pick 5. So if you're interested in which 5 I picked and the reasons why, my very next video is going to be on that very topic. So be on the lookout for that. If you're watching this more into the future, I will link that down below in the description. But just know, if you don't have any lands yet, you can totally get some. The secondary market is a huge advantage right now because you can actually see which fuel sources are on it. When we were buying this in the Dutch auction, we couldn't see that. Now, I got pretty lucky, I think, but I could have easily gotten unlucky and ended up spending money on inferior plots. You can decide and get a nice mix of different fuel sources, so the chances of you running out of one and having to spend money on it goes way down. I saw some people get really hosed on some of these plots, so don't let that happen to you. Now, you can go to these 3 places right now to buy that: Illuvidex, Token Trove, and IMX. I use Token Trove. I think it's easier. But the cheapest land I saw on there was a Tier 1 for about 0.46 ETH right now, for what it's worth. Now let's go check out an article that was written a few days ago talking about this exact same strategy, and I will tell you the points I agree with and the points I don't agree with. Okay, so first of all, where are we? We are at the Info Illuvium. This is going to serve as pretty much your wiki for the entire game. So I suggest you bookmark this site. It's great. And it's a bit incomplete because we're just not that far into the game yet, but there's still a lot of great information. I spend a lot of time here. Now, this is an article written on June 2nd by Ramfy talking about the blueprint strategy, which is exactly what I am trying to do. And it starts out by saying, blueprints are an important aspect of the IZ, which is Illuvium Zero, ecosystem, and will provide a unique revenue-generating opportunity for those lucky enough to come across them. These NFTs will give you access to metadata capable of mining specific skins for things like weapons and armor. So you remember what we were talking about before. I've heard so many different things. It's only going to be for the armor for your character. It's going to be part of the weapons and armor for your alluvials. Not sure, but what we do know is these things are skins, and that is all you had to say to me because I know how much people love them. Article goes on to say, imagine having the only Atlas blueprint and creating a monopoly on Atlas armor. You set the price and supply. You're in full control. This could be huge. Now, with 10,000 blueprints, for there to only be one Atlas, I would be a bit surprised. But again, who's to say I know anything about what's happening in the future, especially more than some of these guys do. But that's just one of the things I thought about. So what is the best strategy for the land sale when thinking about blueprint optimization? There are a few facts to consider. Each region has specific types of alluvials that are common and others that are rare. If you are trying to become a blueprint baron, yes, then diversifying your land regions may be important. I agree. However, targeting a specific fan favorite like Atlas may prove beneficial as well. In this case, you would want to load up on land in the Halcyon Sea and Abyssal Basin, as there is a high chance of finding water alluvials in these regions. Here's a full breakdown of the types of alluvials common to each region. Now, a lot of you have probably seen this before. In my next video, where I tell you which regions I actually chose, we're going to come back here and look at this table. So this paragraph is what we talked about before, but I want to reiterate. It says the next aspect to remember is that all tiers have the same chance of finding a blueprint. There is no benefit to holding a tier 4 land versus a tier 1 land when searching for blueprints. Now, I had a lot less ETH to spend than a lot of people, but I ended up with a lot more land than some of those people too. And that was all part of the plan. So, if your strategy involves opening a blueprint shop, yes, then it would make a lot of sense to buy as many Tier 1 plots as possible to maximize the number of research centers you have. More research means more chances to find a blueprint. The downside to this is Tier 1 lands produce less fuel. With this strategy, you would essentially be going all in on blueprints. This is a gambler strategy compared with the steady income that fuel will generate. It could also result in less frequent research attempts as you have less fuel to do so. That's big right there. It's not so much that you're banking on blueprints instead of steady income like fuel. There's already fuel on every land. Okay, I'm already going to generate that. So if given the choice, I want to get as many blueprints as possible. That's why I'm doing this. But it could also result in less frequent research attempts as you have less fuel to do so. It's quite a conundrum. So that's what we were talking about before. All tier 1 is probably not going to give you enough fuel to do the things you want to do at a very efficient clip. So you may need higher tiers because they produce more fuel and at a better rate on top of that. All right, so what is the ultimate blueprint strategy? I think in this instance, specialization is key. In these early stages, focus on one area and maximizing the chances of getting one blueprint. Okay, that is certainly one way to do it. Now with my 5 lands, do I really want to spend all this time only getting one land to produce possible chances for blueprints? I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to figure out and look at as we get closer to the release of Illuvium Zero. And I will share that with you as we go along. I'm almost thinking to take it a little bit slower and get it to the point where I have all 5 of my lands scanning at the same time, even if that means, I lag behind maybe 1 or 2 weeks behind everybody else. This is what I have to wrestle with. But if you only have one land, this is the way to go here. If lucky enough to acquire one blueprint, use that blueprint to produce income, buy more land, and build your blueprint inventory. It's the perfect way to do it. It's just like in business. If you're making money in your business, don't go spend it on a brand new car. That's stupid. Put it back into your business. Sell the NFTs you make from these blueprints, make more ETH, use that ETH to buy more land, and then let this thing snowball. And then he said, also be on the lookout for blueprints being sold on the secondary market. I wouldn't be too eager to do that because if there are any, and I would be shocked, because why sell a blueprint when you just make money from the blueprint? Why sell a cow for $2,000 when you can make $10,000 selling the milk? But if you do see any on the secondary market, especially early on, prices I think are going to be very, very inflated. I could be wrong. We don't know what's high and what's low. But I would probably wait before I do something like this. And then he says to pinpoint a type of alluvial you want blueprints for. Think about what is popular, like Atlas. That's true, Atlas is very popular, probably the most popular alluvial in the game. And then focus your attention on regions Atlas is found. Well, according to the game, he's only found in one place, and that's the Halcyon Sea. But I know what he's saying. It's just the only thing I quibble with is the S on the end of region. And then he closes it out by saying slow and steady. I agree. It won't happen overnight, but even one plot could be all you need to become a blueprint tycoon. If you do something with that one plot and buy more plots, yes. If you just buy one plot and think that's going to be your ticket to wealth, I don't think you're going to get that lucky. That's why I bought 5. And I'll be open to buying more depending on how long this whole process takes out of my day. But money for me is the end goal, and if that is interesting to you at all, please like and subscribe, follow this channel. I'll be creating videos on Illuvium Zero. I'll be creating videos on the main game once it comes out. And I put out a short Metaverse news program every once or twice a week to keep you updated on everything going on in this beautiful space. I thank you for watching, and I will see you down the road.